Hi everybody, I'm David Rodriguez. Welcome to Leaning Left. Today I'm going to talk about abortion. I'm sure the comments I get will be very reasonable, very calm and collected. They will not be. It's going to be something. So I'm not going to get deep into the nitty gritty, all the details. I probably will do that on a future video and just, get into real specifics on a certain area of this issue because it's a very big issue. I just wanted to get out here and talk a little bit about my overall feelings about it, or my overall thoughts. And I know I'm not really the best person to be talking about this. Ideally, it would be a woman talking about this and not me. But what I'm hoping to do is at least show that I'm an ally, and I want to hear from people who are actually directly affected by this, because your opinion matters so much more than mine. So, but bear with me. Hopefully I can say something productive here. So, whether you're watching this because you think you agree with me or because you're ready to get mad at me, sure you will. Let me just say this. This is something that I think we might all be able to agree on. I think this fight for abortion rights will never go away. Ever. Well, okay. Maybe way down the road when society changes in one way or the other, maybe it will, but probably it's never going to go away. And the reason why that is because you have one side who thinks that is a human right to be able to get abortions. That's your own bodily autonomy. And you have another side that thinks that it's murder. So, as I'm sure you can imagine, there's not a lot of, there's not a room to negotiate or reach a middle ground. There's not really a middle ground. You can't make something less murder, or this is less of my right. This is a fight that will always be. Now, until recently, it was a right in this country. Because of the Roe versus Wade decision, it was decided that this was a human right. All women had the right to get abortions if they needed it or wanted it. They had the right. No one could put restrictions on that other than a certain length of time, but that was it. They could get abortions. And then this new Supreme Court showed up, and the Dobbs decision basically reversed that. And this really, whether you agree with what they did or not, the fact of the matter is, this really hurts the credibility of the Supreme Court. They basically take a previous ruling of theirs and said, well, no, that's not really right. Which means any right we have that the Supreme Court could have say in could just change at any time. Any time at all. As long as somebody takes a case to that court, a right you currently enjoy could change. And that's not really what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be the ones who basically interpret the law based on what's written in previous cases and judge accordingly. And that isn't what they did, because they had their own agendas. And who cares about the credibility of the Supreme Court as long as they get their way? That's what happened. So as you might have guessed, I am pro-choice all the way. I don't care why a woman wants or needs to get an abortion. It's not my business. She should be able to get one. It's her body. She's going to have to carry that kid for 9 months, and then whatever happens afterwards, that's going to be something that she has to deal with too, whether she puts it up for adoption or whether she raises it, whatever the case might be. It's a lot. It is a lot to ask of anyone to do that. And it's not really fair to force someone to do that. That is my feeling on it. Now, where did the idea of abortion being murder come from? That's a great question. We know that science doesn't agree that it is. That's why we've been able to do it. You hear people on the side of there's a heartbeat at 8 weeks or whatever they say. And that's actually just electoral pulses. It's not their heartbeat, but whatever. Anyway, there'll be some other landmark. They say, oh, but there's fingernails, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. Anyway, the point is, science isn't on that side, but okay, I understand. I get it. Not everyone is super into science, even though it's just reality. But sure, not everyone's into it. I get it. So this also tends to stem from religion. A lot of times, usually various Christian denominations, not all of them, of course, but certain ones are against abortion, and they say that is in fact murder, which is a pretty serious thing to say. And I get it. If your religion says that, then that's what you're going to believe. I understand that. The thing is about that is that's not in the Bible. anywhere. It's not. They don't talk about abortions. And they only kind of talk about when life starts once. And as I have to write, I'm not a Bible scholar, so bear with me, but it's in Genesis 2:7. Now, I believe this was in relation to Adam getting life breathed into him. But that's the only area in the Bible where they talk at all about where life starts. So read that way, you could theoretically, according to the Bible, get an abortion when you're going into labor, as long as the kid hasn't come out yet. Now, obviously, we wouldn't allow that. That's ridiculous. Science has already said, like, no. Like, you can't do it that late. That's crazy. And I agree with that. That makes sense. At a point, the kid becomes, the fetus becomes viable, and you can't, like, really abort it at that point. But before that, it's not a life, not a sentient life, not a being. I understand that that's hard to accept. I don't know who started this idea in the religious communities that abortion is murder. I don't know where that came from. But it wasn't from the Bible, which means some guy just decided it. And it was a guy. Somebody in the religious world decided that, and it spread. Or maybe several people in different places did, and it spread. Either way, that's just us normal mortals making that up. Somebody just decided to make it that way. And so now it's gotten incorporated into religion, even though, again, it's not in the Bible at all. We have no reason to think that is what God or Jesus or anybody else thinks. We have no reason to think that. But nonetheless, it has become part of religion for many people. And that really doesn't make sense. I know that passage about breathing life into Adam, I know it's a little vague. You could probably interpret that a lot of different ways. The Bible honestly should probably be translated into modern speak, but it would probably have some things changed by the people who are translating it to put whatever they want into it, much like it has every time it's been translated ever. So I'm just saying maybe we shouldn't stick too strictly to the exact wording of things in there, because it's gone through a lot of changes. It's better than Google Translate, but not necessarily, because you have people with intention behind it. But anyway, I'm not here to insult religion, because you can believe whatever you want, and I think that's fantastic. Good on you. Like, whatever brings you happiness and joy and makes you feel more fulfilled, great. But here's the thing. So now we have states that are making abortions illegal, and to extreme degrees. Sometimes it's like, well, you can only get an abortion up to this certain point, at which a lot of women don't even know they're pregnant yet. Like, it's not always obvious by that point. Or you can't get them at all, even if it could endanger the life of the mother. So we now have situations where women are going in, they're having a serious complication with the pregnancy, they're going septic, and until it looks like they may die, the doctors can't do anything for them. They can't give them the care that they need in order to save the mother's life. And the baby's not even really viable anymore. But they can't do it until they're pretty certain that the mother is going to die. How messed up is that? Who does that help? Who would any God be happy about that? I really don't see how or why. It doesn't make sense. We even have people in jail for having miscarriages. Oh my God. They can't even help that. That's not their fault. That just happens. I would have to look this up to be sure, so don't take strictly at my word for this. But I heard like 25% of pregnancies that happen are miscarried. Now, some of them are so early that you don't even really know. It happens before the woman even knows she's pregnant. But 25%, that means you'd have to lock up a quarter of the women in the United States. And I'm not sure that Republicans and certain people in religious communities would disagree with that, which is really messed up. I can't fathom this belief that it is murder that came from, again, nowhere important. Again, not based in scientific fact, not actually based in religion, whatever people think. It came from nowhere. Some guy made it up. And because of that, we're inflicting all these things on women. And I know what you're saying, well, just, carry the kid for 9 months and put it up for adoption. Look, there are a lot of really great adoptive parents out there. There really are. And there's people who can have kids that need them. And that's fantastic. I'm glad we have an adoption system. But our adoption system is not perfect. It's not. Sometimes the kids don't get adopted. That sucks. Sometimes they end up in the foster system, which, again, has its own problems. Some of it's fine, of course. There are great foster parents out there, and I don't mean to say otherwise. But there's also real bad ones. Real bad ones. I'm not going to go into that, but you can imagine. And if a mother wants to have an abortion because she just doesn't want a baby, or because she can't afford a baby, or any number of other reasons, and then she has to have the baby, what kind of life is that baby going to have? I mean, really, like, if she can't afford the baby, what's going to happen? And I might feel a little better about this option if Republicans were known to be like super caring about people who are struggling and wanting to help them out so that they can feed themselves and have a place to live. But they are very against that, usually. So you're very determined to have a kid born into this world who may not get food, or at least not enough food, may go to sleep hungry a lot of nights, may have a parent that doesn't want them. That's what you want? Like, you want the kid to live so you can basically have them have a torturous existence until hopefully they come out of it, but chances are they won't because they've got every factor working against them. This is madness. It's absolute madness. And no argument I've heard to justify that idea, again, makes sense for anything. It doesn't come from anywhere. So those are my thoughts on abortion. We need to do whatever it takes to rectify this in the court. I don't care if that's expanding the court or what. Whatever it is, this can't be allowed to continue because it's monstrous and barbaric and backwards medieval thinking. So those are my thoughts. Oh God, I hate to say this, but what are yours? Let me know. The people who are against me, I mean, my God, I know I'm going to hear some interesting things. That's fine. Whatever. You're not going to convince me. I'm not going to convince you. Again, this fight will go on forever. But, you know, do what you like. That's fine. If you agree with me, or if you have other information or other thoughts, please do share them with me. I'd love to hear about them because, again, I know I'm not the perfect person to talk about this. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe and click the little bell icon so you can know about the next time I put out a video. And in the meantime, just remember, if you keep leaning left, you'll always be right.